Today's edition of NFL Daily is presented by Roan, their commuter collection. I'm wearing one of their polos, by the way. Gets you straight through any workday and right into whatever comes next. 20% off when you use promo code ChatSports at roan.com/chatsports. Good news, folks. NFL training camps are finally getting started. I know it's been a lull in the period. We'll break down some trade rumors that are pretty interesting, by the way. But we're going to keep giving you guys some great NFL coverage. So if you haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed for more free NFL videos right here on Chat Sports. Starting off with a banger, how about an Aaron Donald trade? Michael Lombardi, who I don't like that much in terms of just the content he provides and his NFL GM tracker, but I digress, began the NFL trade rumors on the Pat McAfee Show, which I actually like. That has led to plenty of speculation around Donald, bunch of different websites, articles, top trades, whatever. A lot of NFL teams would have interest. Shocking, I know. But would the Rams really trade him away? Here's what Lombardi argued on the Pat McAfee Show. He said, say the Rams start off slow and they're heading towards Caleb Williams in the draft. They trade Aaron Donald to a team at the deadline because he's truly their only asset. For starters, I would dispute this idea that Donald is the Rams' only asset. Now, he's probably their best asset, but that's erasure of guys like Cooper Kupp. Maybe even a Cam Akers at a lesser level. Like their second round pick this year, Steve, like he would have asset value. So like I don't agree with that. But beside the point, Donald is not what he was at his best. He missed time last year. He's still perhaps, if not the best defensive tackle, however, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, those interior defensive linemen. You're starting a list of defensive players you take. You're not getting very far out of the top three, top two even, without taking Aaron Donald. Now, the money is intriguing here. That's a big factor in these conversations, the hypothetical conversations. The Rams don't actually save that much money. $13.5 million this year, only $5.66 next year. A team that would hypothetically trade for Aaron Donald, acquiring a all-in superstar defense tackle to win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years or so, in theory, would owe him $13.5 million this year. Super cheap. Less money, by the way, owed and saved. If it's not week 1, it's like week 7 because base salary, etc. $21.66 next year. Then a dead cap charge of just over $13.3 because there's some void years on the deal and some still guaranteed money yet to be paid out by LA. We'll spend some more time here on Aaron Donald, break down what the trade value could look like here in this hypothetical. But what is the percent chance the Rams actually trade him away? This is today's pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. I think the number's pretty low. I think you're looking at maybe 5%, if that. And the big reason why, I don't think the Rams are going to be top 3 pick bad. I don't think they're going to be a colossal dumpster fire of an organization that's trending towards a guaranteed top pick. They could. I'd be surprised if they didn't win at least 5 or 6 games, and they are resetting on defense. But if they have a healthy Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, I think they'll be able to at least be competitive pretty quickly. In the event that Aaron Donald does become available, what teams could be interested? About 31 teams. Now, I think that number dips a little bit in terms of like who's actually a contender, who's not. Like the Cardinals probably aren't going to be a contender, right? The Raiders, I'd be a little bit surprised if they were in that status with Garoppolo, but who knows? Crazy stuff happens with Josh McDaniels. Other bad teams probably not going to quite be there from that perspective. Maybe the Texans probably aren't necessarily a full-fledged contender, but who knows? Weird stuff happens. Every team would have interest in the end. So the trade value, I'll label it a first and a third. I think it's got to be at least one first. I think Donald's got 2 years left. I think that's how much longer he has in the tank, and then he calls it a career and retires. I do still think there's immense value, though, in having a player like Aaron Donald from that perspective on your team. It's an aggressive all-in move. I think you get at least a first. I mean, Bradley Chubb got a first last year. Maybe it's more. Maybe that eliminates some possible contenders. But in the hypothetical in which Donald's available, yeah, I still think he command a pretty good trade value. Today's show is made possible by Roan. The commuter collection gets you ready for any occasion with pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos like I am wearing today, you never have to worry about what to wear with the Roan Commuter Collection. They have 4-way stretch fabric that provides breathability and flexibility for whatever life throws your way, from the commute to work, the commute from work, drinks, dinner in the evening, 18 holes of golf, maybe 9 holes if you work the long hours like we do. It's easy to feel confident without the hassle with Roan's wrinkle release technology. Wrinkles actually will disappear as you wear the product. It's that easy. They have Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, so you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. And it is 100% machine washable. The Commuter Collection gets you straight through the workday and right into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/chatsports and use promo code chatsports for 20% off your order. That's roan.com/chatsports, RHONE.com/chatsports. Check the comment section or the description for the link and the promo code to help find your corner office comfort. Let's talk running backs now. There's a lot going on here. The franchise tag deadline ended yesterday. The Giants did not get a deal done with Saquon Barkley, allegedly separated by about $2 million per year in the first 2 years and about $2 million guaranteed. That's it. And they could not get a deal done in the end. Now Barkley likely will not report to training camp. His agency has threatened with leaks to sit out games potentially. The logical next step then has been trade speculation. The Bills are once again linked because, Bills fans were linked previously and they seem to want him, whatever. Here's what Dan Duggan of The Athletic wrote, which I think is very important to keep in mind here. It says Barkley could try to leverage an absence into concessions, such as a 1-year contract that includes a clause prohibiting the team from tagging him again next offseason. Quick aside here. Barkley's not signed the franchise tag tender. You can sign a slightly modified 1-year deal. You just can't go above the 1-year contract money-wise. You can actually take a little bit less, which happens occasionally. Yannick Ngakoue did that, but it's pretty rare. Anyway, if things get really nasty, Barkley could push for a trade, but it's inconceivable the Giants will part with their top weapon as a promising season approaches. We will talk about Josh Jacobs here in a little bit as well. It might be a more feasible trade target, but who knows? Will any of these franchise backs, Barkley or Jacobs — Pollard's happy with his deal in Dallas right now, by the way, he's not holding out — will either of them be traded? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote in the comment section. Barkley's coming off one of his better years. 4.4 yards per carry on a pretty high volume, almost 300 carries, 10 touchdowns. The Giants' offensive line was solid-ish. There's still some flaws they're working through right there. But especially with an offense that doesn't have a premier playmaker at receiver, yet at least, Barkley is the one that maybe scares the defenses the most, even at the running back spot that's been devalued in recent years. Maybe Darren Waller, but he's been banged up. If the Giants don't have Barkley, man, it's Matt Breida, Eric Gray, and Gary Brightwell. Even if you are a believer in running backs don't matter, I think we would still agree that that is a significant downgrade for a Giants team that wants to and relies on running the football. As for Barkley, I think he's back with the Giants for this year. Beyond that, I'm not so sure anymore. Let's move then to Josh Jacobs. Same notes here. Did not get a deal done. Likely won't report to training camp. He has not signed his tender just like Barkley, so there are no fines. Could sit out some games as well. Also worth mentioning that Barkley had one of the funner how close was it stories. There's always they almost got it done, right? Well, Jacobs was hanging out in the parking lot with Max Crosby all day, hoping a deal would get done. It did not get done. Compared to Barkley, I think there's a slightly better chance Jacobs could actually get dealt, in large part because it's Josh McDaniels, who knows what he's going to want to do, and the Giants are viewed as more of a contender right now than the Raiders are. The Jacobs trade could give them some more assets. So who is more likely to get dealt of these two backs? SB for Saquon Barkley or JJ for Josh Jacobs? Jacobs was the NFL's leading rusher last season at almost 5 yards per carry, 12 touchdowns, 340 carries. Elite production for the running back position was very impressive there. And Jacobs made some interesting comments about how he would be open to playing on the tag if the Raiders went out and built a contender around it. Well, he's unhappy right now. makes me wonder if he doesn't think the Raiders did enough to support him. If he's like, if I'm going to carry this team, you got to pay me like it, or you got to make the team around me better. I guess Jacobs not for the Raiders did that, which could lead to some issues with, I don't know what the proper term is, controversial head coach Josh McDaniels. Maybe that's the term for it. Much like the Giants, the Raiders aren't the best options behind Jacobs. Zamir White, I liked him coming out of Georgia, but I wouldn't say he's a premier threat at the running back spot. Then it's, third down backs like Amir Abdullah and Brandon Bolden and guys you haven't heard of like Shane McCormick. So the Raiders need him, but if they're going to blow it up and rebuild, which sometimes feels like they are, sometimes feels like it doesn't, which would be issues for Davante Adams if they do blow it up, maybe they could trade him. I think in the end, sticks around for one more year. One more trade rumor on today's show. This was a tweet that went out last week that I saw get picked up by some outlets out there. It says the Falcons have offered a conditional second-round pick to the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for quarterback Trey Lance. And then the report says, them told the Niners were going to field other offers from around the league. They want to help do what is best for Lance and his camp. I do want to make one thing super clear here in terms of what's going on with Lance and this report. It's fake. This is not a credible report. That CJ Golson account is not a real account. It's a fake account that spreads misinformation and just makes stuff up, oftentimes try to get people. So it's not an actual real report. I do want to emphasize that pretty heavily. Lance, in the end, is maybe going to compete for the Niners starting job. The Niners wanted more out of the quarterback. They wanted more than Jimmy Garoppolo, than Brock Purdy. I guess Purdy's kind of become, in many ways, the new Jimmy Garoppolo. Numbers are actually not that different. Lance just hasn't been healthy. Hasn't been able to play games. And one of the games he started was in a monsoon. He's still an unknown as he enters year 3. And that's kind of terrifying. Sounds like Purdy's going to be healthy for week 1. We'll have to wait and see on that front. I think it will still be a competition in San Francisco. I do not believe in Sam Darnold, but I don't think a Lance trade's going to happen, especially not in the immediate future.